Hey everyone, Paragon DM here, and wanted to just make a little video in response to the Girls Play D&D post that I made and the thread of comments and stuff that followed. I'm a little bit sick, so I apologize if I sound a little stuffy. I thought about putting this off and recording it later, but then I decided I really just wanted to address this and go over a couple of things that to get off my chest and also just to respond to. The first thing I want to say is thank you. I've never had a post that went that big, and I really didn't expect it to blow up the way that it did with that that kind of response. And I really am just overwhelmed by the amount of people commenting and responding, mostly good. Seeing the positivity, seeing the just what our community is really made of. And the majority of people responding and retweeting and sharing and putting their comments were all positive experiences. And I think that speaks volumes. We do have a fantastic Dungeons and Dragons community. The D&D community on Twitter is especially great. It's really the only reason I'm on Twitter. I don't have a personal account. The only reason that I use Twitter at all is for Dungeons and Dragons. I promote some of my own stuff that I create, and just to follow other people and to interact with the community. So, thank you. It's really kind of opened my eyes to the size of the community even. And I knew that we had a big community, but, my own personal experience has been relatively small. I'm just some guy in Ontario, Canada, posting some stuff on the internet and never expected to really see that kind of response. So thank you. It's amazing to see that. I wanted to address a couple of the types of comments and the things that I saw popping up throughout the thread with this post. And I do want to affirm and just point out, like I said already, that the majority of what I saw was really positive stuff. Thank you so much to those who were sharing their own experiences of how long they've been playing, having diverse groups at their table, having, all girl groups playing, those who, just got into the game and are excited about it, saw somebody saying that they're DMing for their first time and are excited about it. And then stories of girls and women who have been playing for years and years and years and years. And that's awesome to hear too, from those who have been there, kind of from the early 80s, or even somebody was saying from the 70s, or like right from the beginning of the game, all the way through till now. That's really cool to see, and I'm so glad to see that. There were some negative experiences though, and I want to highlight those, especially because there are people who are still saying that this doesn't exist, that girls aren't facing any kinds of pushback at the table, that they're not being excluded. And meanwhile, we hear specific stories of how this is happening, or at the very minimum, if they're not being pushed away, they're being made to feel uncomfortable at the table by the actions and by the words of the people that are sitting there. One of the reasons that I made this post, and it's kind of funny that people were saying, well, this isn't news. And I agree. And that's not why I made the post. I didn't post it as some sort of groundbreaking revelation, that it's, guess what? Girls play D&D and everybody should be shocked by that. The fact is that it should be something that is really normal. And that's the point. That it always has been part of the game. It is bigger now. Okay, girls have played D&D for a long time, but there are more playing now than ever, and there's a reason for that. And I think we need to acknowledge that. But it is normal, and that's the point. I specifically didn't say girls play too, girls play as well, or also, or girls play now. I simply said girls play D&D. There shouldn't be any surprise, but there still is. So one of the comments that was made early on was, this idea, well, yeah, they play now because it's kind of this niche nerd thing, right? It's trendy. So what? I don't understand how that's a bad thing, and I don't understand the comments like that. Well, they only play because it's cool now. There are millions of people that are into Marvel because it's cool now, because of the movies. They probably never picked up a comic book in their life prior to watching a movie, but I bet you a lot of them have picked up comic books now. and read graphic novels and read digital novels. Why is that a bad thing? How can exposure be bad? So even if a girl playing Dungeons and Dragons today got into it because she saw a game streamed and thought, that looks interesting. Or she discovered the world of cosplay and said, you know what, that looks really cool. And then kind of through that, found the world of RPGs and found Dungeons and Dragons. Why is this a bad thing? I really don't understand that. I don't understand why people coming to the game, whatever their reasons, can be viewed with any kind of negativity. It just doesn't make sense to me. More people playing is better for the game, better for the community, better for the industry. I mean, look at cons. Cons are bigger than they ever have been. Okay, merchandise is bigger than it's ever been, and that's a way for industry to generate money and to put that money back into the industry to create more for the game. And I see people talking about this community now. It's like, oh, it's all merchandise and it's all this and it's all that and it's not all true gaming. You know, I got two words for those people: shut up. Why is this bad? I'm wearing a Dungeons and Dragons shirt. I love that I can buy Dungeons and Dragons shirts to show off my passion. How is that possibly a bad thing? It doesn't make any sense to me. So whatever the reasons for girls playing D&D, it's awesome. And there are more playing now than ever because of this exposure, because we have live streams on Twitch, we have podcasts and blogs and video casts and people posting videos on YouTube, and it's huge. And so with this exposure in general, more people watching, more people being introduced to the community, more people having access to the game, naturally more people are going to play it. And that can only be a good thing. Think of it from, Wizards of the Coast point of view, right? Let's say that there were only a handful of people playing the game. Do you think they could be pumping out the material that they are at the rate that they are, at the quality that they are? I have to say, for 5th edition, the materials that have been released lately are fantastic. I love Xanathar's Guide to Everything. I love Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. I'm really looking forward to Waterdeep. Like, I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to playing Waterdeep and running through that. There's just so much good content. And you look at the DM's Guild and the amount of indie creators who are publishing their own stuff and putting content out there. This is only possible because more people are being drawn to the game. And the way that Wizards and D&D have kind of opened it up to the community and allowed people to kind of pour themselves into it, it's made this game bigger than ever, and more people are playing. How is that a bad thing? So we need to embrace that. We need to embrace the fact that more people are playing, that girls are playing, more girls are playing now than ever before, and we need to see that as a good thing. I don't understand how it can't be. I want to address a couple of specific things, some of the negative comments that are being made. And one of them was this idea that girls are playing victim, that this issue really isn't as big as they say that it is, or that, I'm making it or the other people are making it out to be. And that's just false. Okay, anytime we start blaming people of playing victim, I think we get into really dangerous territory. And we're not talking in general sense here, okay? If we're talking about life in general, yes, people play victim. People will try to con others or scam others. Usually there's a reason behind it. There's something to be gained. Okay, that's one of the really important pieces of the recipe when somebody is playing victim, when they're running a con, so to speak. And that's what playing victim is, really. It's running a con. There's something to be gained. What do women have to gain by lying about their experiences at a D&D table, or saying that they've faced ridicule or persecution or exclusion? For them to be willing to share their experiences, the negative experiences that they've had, it actually speaks to the passion that they really want to play the game, and they've really been hurt by what they've experienced, and they want to share that so that, we can hear, and we can have our ears open, we can have our eyes open and see, oh, this is happening. in our community, and it needs to stop, so we need to do something about it. The only thing that they have to gain is people becoming aware. So why would you fake it? Why would your immediate reaction to a woman saying, you know what, I was made to feel really uncomfortable at the table because of the sexist comments being made? Why would your immediate reaction be, oh, it wasn't that bad? Or you're just playing victim. You're not really a victim. Suck it up and move on. How dare we? I think everybody's personal experience, first of all, is personal, and nobody else can tell that person it's not as bad as you think it is. And we have a tendency to do that in other areas of life as well. Somebody goes through something and we say, well, you know what, it's not that bad. Well, maybe not for you, but maybe for them it was traumatic. Maybe for them it was something that really cut deep and left a scar, left a wound, something that hurt, something that still hurts. And this can be true with anything in life. But especially when we face persecution, when we face ridicule, when we face exclusion, and it's for a specific reason, in this case because of gender, because they're women, that can cut really deep. And especially speaking as a guy, speaking to other guys out there, you can't tell a woman that her being excluded from a table isn't as bad as she's making it out to be, because you're not her. You haven't experienced that. You can't speak into it. Simple as that. So I think we need to stop this. We need to stop victim blaming. We need to stop saying that they're playing victim and you know, kind of trying to whitewash and say, well, it's not a big deal. And I think we just need to acknowledge the fact that it is an issue. Thankfully, it's not the community at whole, and I do acknowledge that, and I have acknowledged that this isn't you know, indicative of the D&D community as one big entity. The whole thing isn't corrupt, okay? By and large, it's very positive. By and large, there's a lot of inclusion happening and people being welcome to the game. But there are pockets of this here and there, and we need to address those. So if I have a tumor in my body, it doesn't mean that my whole body is suddenly cancerous. You know, doctors aren't going to look at that tumor and say, well, there's a tumor, you know, your whole body is crap. That's not the case. You remove that tumor in the hopes that the body can heal, can be restored, can be healthy, and can function the way that it was meant to. It's the same in the community. These little pockets of exclusion, of sexism, of you know, all of this that's happening, they are cancers. They are tumors in the D&D community. And the only way that we can heal the community as a whole and make the whole community better is by pointing out these little cancers and by drawing attention to them and saying, you know what, this has no place in the community. We need to remove it and pull it out. Just because it's not 50% or it's not 75%, even though it might be a minority of cases, they are still happening. And we do nobody a favor if we just ignore them, or we pretend that they're not happening, or we pretend that it's not as bad as it is. For the people that are experiencing it, it is that bad. Plain and simple. It's their experience. They're being turned away from the table, and that shouldn't be happening to anybody, especially because of their gender. That's just, I mean, do I really have to say it's wrong? I shouldn't. I really shouldn't have to say that that's wrong, but apparently we do. So we need to stop that, okay? And one person made the accusation that, you know, by drawing attention to stuff like this, that, you know, that I am making the whole community look bad. And I don't agree with that. I don't really understand how that makes sense. Again, I'm not saying that the D&D community is a cancer or is cancerous or is problematic. I said these particular instances happening within the community are bad, and we need to address them. There's a big difference there. Okay, it's really simple. And then there are those who completely, you know, just say, well, this isn't real. This isn't happening at all. I've never seen it. I've been playing D&D for X number of years, and I've gone to, you know, this number of game stores, and I've played at this many tables and this many conventions, and I've never seen it. Two reasons why you haven't seen it. One, maybe you live in a great community, and the people in that community are very inclusive and are welcoming at the table, and there haven't been that many issues. Or two, you just don't see it. It is happening, but you're not aware of it. And to say that, you haven't seen it, therefore it's not real, is arrogant. As if you are able to judge every situation and every single table, including the ones that you don't sit at. Think about how many D&D games are running in any given community at any moment. Okay, so I live in an area where there's probably about 500,000 people total. I have no idea how many D&D games are running right now. For me to assume that I can make a bold statement about every single table happening in this community and say, nope, the issue's not there. How naive, how ignorant, and how arrogant of me to do that. I simply can't say that because I don't know. So we need to stop pretending. You need to stop acting as if just because you haven't seen it, it doesn't exist. Okay? Other people have seen it. Other people have experienced it. Therefore, it exists. Plain and simple. There are a lot of things that I've never experienced in my life that other people have. And for me to say, well, it can't be that bad, or I don't really believe that's the case because that's not my experience, that's very self-centered. That's me focusing inward and basing everything that happens in the world on my objectivity and my ability to see things. And that's very limited. And it just has no place in our community. We need to be willing to listen to one another. It'd be amazing if we didn't have to address any of these things. If we could all just focus on playing the game. And I hope that's what we can do. Finally, I want to say thank you to those who are sharing experiences. I'd love to hear more. Please continue to share experiences, both the good and the bad, especially if you have experienced something. Women, if you've gone through exclusion at a table or from a table, if you've been made to feel unwelcome because of comments being made, please share your experiences so that we can see them and we can learn from them. And if you see this happening, especially guys out there, okay, if you see this happening at a table, speak up. You have the ability to stop it. If you're at a table and you see a DM, acting a certain way towards one at the table, or you see other players, or you're the DM and you see your players doing this, speak up. Put a stop to it. It doesn't have to happen. And the more people who are willing to step in and say, hey, you know what? That's not really appropriate. We need to stop that. Then I think we'll all be better off for it. Thanks for watching and listening. My name is Craig, Paragon DM. You can check out my stuff on Twitter. I post a lot of stuff on the DMs Guild as well. I'm going to have stuff coming out there. I'd love to interact with you guys. And again, please continue to share your stories, and we're all better off for hearing them. Happy gaming.